We're gonna try YouTube videos on the phone, not really edited, just because I haven't uploaded on this channel for like a year almost. So let's stop doing that. And TikTok's got me shadow banned anyways, so it's gonna be easier to do this probably. One video we can start off with is why the fuck do I love this book so much? Myriad of reasons. So this was the first book on the occult that I ever got. This was also the first book I ever bought out of my own choice. Let's say I was never really a big reader before this book. What had happened was that I was actually going to the store to pick up the Satanic Bible. However, this motherfucker was right next to it, right? So before the occult, I was and still am huge on stage magic, on performance magic, and the art of illusion, right? So I saw this, and I saw the back was like something about magic, darkest days of magic and occultism, like magic. What is that like? Is this like a prop? I literally thought it was a prop for like a performance or something, or like I don't know. I didn't know what it was. I always thought grimoires and magic was either illusion stage performances or was something that came out of fantasy. You know, I wasn't very well read on religions or mythologies. I didn't know the first thing about all of that starting out. This book was kind of the gateway to all of that. It's just funny when you know that this is the sigil of the. I think it's the gateway. I think it is called Sigil of the Gateway. Sigil of the Gates something. I don't have my notes in front of me right now. But this book it's really chaos magic incarnate. I think Espen Kane wrote that something along those lines in his book, The Book of Smokeless Fire, which part two of that came out recently, and I need to pick that up. But I have part one over on the bookshelf. But this really is chaos magic incarnate, because what you have here in this little book is you have Sumerian, pseudo-Sumerian entities and mythology mixed with Western ceremonial occultism with influences of Greek. And you also, then on top of all that, have a Lovecraftian tone, psychodrama, as it's called. And it was the psychodrama aspect that really got me interested in this book. And it was funny because the first time I read through this whole thing, again, I was not an avid reader before this book. I had trouble sitting down and reading a book, but this thing, I knocked through it in about a day, like about 24 hours, maybe a little more, maybe like a day and a half. I didn't understand a goddamn thing I read, but that simply made me want to look into this book on the internet, see what I could find, unravel it, unpack it. Necronomicon led to more things, that led to even more things, and it's all been kind of about figuring out what this little guy has to offer. And it has a lot to offer. Let me tell you what. I remember, I'm probably going to call this video like why I love Necronomicon, probably. I started messing around with it because I learned of this in like, I think it was sophomore year of college. I was in the dorms at the time. And the third floor, the floor I was on, was notoriously haunted. Very notoriously haunted. And I picked up this little book, right? And I started messing around with the chapter. What the fuck is the chapter called? Oh, here we go. It's the Malku text, right? The Maklu text. This entire chapter book of the Necronomicon is banishings, burnings, and bindings of the Necronomicon. And so I was looking through them. I was like, okay, I don't know what the fuck any of this is. And part of me wanted to go through the entire process, but another part of me really wanted to play around and see what is magic all about. Like what does magic feel like, right? Um, so what I did is that I did one of the banishings in the Necronomicon because I was feeling weird that night. I was like, is there something in the room here? Because I remembered the dorms were really haunted, or at least our floor was. I'm like, okay, I'm getting some weird vibes. I have the Necronomicon. Let's see if this thing works. Um, and so I did one of the banishings from the book. I think I did, here's what it was. The Exorcism Zidingir, to be used against any kind of malefic. So I used that one. And I said it loud and I said it with intent. It was like 2 in the morning, so I probably got in trouble. I don't remember. But if I didn't get in trouble, I'm sure people were not appreciative. My neighbors probably didn't like it, but fuck them. After that moment, there was not a single word on a ghost appearance for the remainder of the year. For the remainder of time I was there, there was not a peep about ghosts or anything. It was like full stop right after I did the ritual in this book. And that's the thing. I wasn't worrying about, oh, is this going to work? I'm like, oh, we're going to try it, and I'm going to say the words, and then I'm going to go to sleep. And I think it's the ignorance of the beginner that sometimes leads to such beautiful things to happen, because like when you start doing your practice more and more, you start thinking of, okay, well, how is this going to interact with this, and how will that affect these other factors? Well, when you're a beginner, you don't give a shit about that, or at least not as much. I've noticed through myself and through others. It's just like, whoa, cool spell, I'm going to try it, and then you try it. Then it fucking happens because you're not worried about the logistics. You're worried about the spell doing what you want it to do. So that's the beauty of beginner work, I've noticed. But anyways, I still use the Necronomicon to this day. It's very good for the banishings within the Maklu text. I use the Conjuration of the Fire God, probably more than I should. And the 50 Names of Marduk is a fantastic way to start evocation or invocation, I think, or even I think it's Damon Brand. He made a book on angels, Angels of Alchemy. There's like 40 of them. He was like this thing called tasking, and I really liked that. I liked that term a lot, tasking, where it's not invocation and not necessarily evocation, but it is calling upon the spirit, maybe leaving an offering and telling them what you need, and then they fuck off and do it. And he used the word tasking, and I love that. So I use it. So if you want to like start tasking, 50 Names of Marduk, fantastic. Now technically, you should be doing the Ladder of Lights before you work with the energies of Marduk, but me, as well as many other magicians, have said no and just did it, which is very. I mean, it worked. It worked. So. But you probably should do the Ladder of Light at some point if you like the magic of the Necronomicon and it starts working for you. I think it was Magicology, shout out to him, that said like what the Ladder of Lights would do is that it will tune you more to the energies. So then when you start out with 50 Names of Marduk without doing the initiations of the Ladders of Light, it's just a bit more unpredictable. And I agree with his sentiment wholeheartedly. And the part that really got me interested in actually wanting to work with the Necronomicon was the Uriria text, which is the text of the abominations or the ancient ones, because it has the elder gods and the ancient ones. And so those were of the demonic flavor, and that immediately grabbed my attention when I read this, and that kind of foreshadowed my whole path on the occult. As those of you who follow my TikTok know, I'm a huge practitioner of demonology and darker paths and whatnot. So I'm just rambling, but Necronomicon, just some fun stuff that I figured I'd share. I'll probably make more parts of this, or maybe make a better, like, actually planned out lecture video or something. We'll see. But I just wanted to see how a video on my phone would look when uploaded to YouTube. So see you soon.